what is the catch? The catch is that the group by doesn't work without an aggregate function. Okay, so it has to be it works only when you have an aggregate function used in your select statement, and in this case we are selecting the gender, then count of all the books from books, then we can group by gender. Hello guys, you're welcome to my channel once again, and as usual today we're going to continue with our SQL series. We'll be looking at another interesting yet vital aspect of our SQL query. So stick with me and watch to the end. See you there. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the group by clause, the having clause, and how to filter using multiple criteria. Okay, so the group by clause, what is it used for? The group by clause it helps us to group our rows into summary rows based on a common value. So it means that it will group the rows it will summarize them into groups based on common values. That is, if the rows have the same value, then they are going to be grouped together as a single group, and as many values available will determine the number of groups that the rows will be grouped into based on the grouping column. Okay, so let's see this in action. Now, as we have on our books table, we have the book ID, the title, the gender, the price, the stock quantity. Now we want to group all our books into their gender. We want to know how many books do we have per gender. So how can we do that? This is where the group by clause will come in. So let's do this, guys. Okay, so I'm going to select all. So this group by clause works with an aggregate function. For us to be able to group our rows into groups, they have to be used alongside an aggregate function. How does this work? So back to what we wanted to do. Okay, so we want to group all our books into the gender. We want to see how many number of books per gender. So definitely we're going to have gender, right? Okay, let's point to our table first as the best practice so that our referencing can be easily done. So from books, right? Okay, so now we're going to select the gender column. We want to return the gender. Okay, then the count of all the books for each gender, that's what we want to do. So we're going to say count, right? So count, let's count the book ID. We can count, or we can as well count the book ID, but I think book ID will suffice. Okay, so we just go with the book ID. We're going to count it as number of books, right? Okay, so we're now going to say group by. So what are we going to group by? We're going to group by gender, because we want to know how many number of books we have per gender. So then we're going to run this. Guys, watch out. Yes, so you can see these are the genders that we have on our books table, and these are the number of books per each gender. As long as we have a long list and we want to see it from the highest to the lowest, we can as well use our order bar as we treated in the last video. Okay, so that is how we use our order bar. So what is the catch? The catch is that the group by doesn't work without an aggregate function. Okay, so it has to be it works only when you have an aggregate function used in your select statement, and in this case we are selecting the gender, then count of all the books from books, then we can group by gender. So we group by on aggregated column. So you can't say group by count of, no, you can't say group by number of books. You group by the column that is not an aggregate. Okay, so we're going to use it more as we proceed in our query. Now let's look at the having clause. The having clause is similar to the where statement because it is used to filter a record, but not ordinary record. The having clause is used to filter grouped records. The where clause, on the other hand, can filter any record, but the having clause only filters grouped record. So, and it works hand in hand with aggregated column. Assuming this query that we have just run here, so let's assume we only want to see groups that have a count of book greater than 2. So how do we filter that? We can't use where count of book equals to greater than 2. No, it doesn't, it won't work. So we're just going to say having count of book ID greater than 2. So what we are trying to say here is that it should only return for, it should filter this return for this query for only gender that the count of books, that the total books that they have is greater than 2. So I want you to take note of the number of gender returned initially without the having clause, and now let's see what we have after the having clause. So we're going to execute our query. Now you can see it is only one gender that meets this condition. That is only one condition, that is only one gender that has a total count of books greater than 2. Now, although there is a gender also that has a count of 2, but the reason why it's edging that gender out is because we are saying greater than 2. We are not saying between 2 and whatever, neither are we saying equals to 2. Let's move on. Now, that is how we can combine the group by as well as the count keyword to query our database. So we are going to look into how we can filter our query within the where statement. So in one of the previous videos, we've looked at how we filter in the where clause and using some of the multiple criteria, the likes of and, or. So we're going to look at between and hopefully likes. Okay, so we already know that the and is used to specify more than one condition, and it means that whenever you are using and, all the conditions must be met for your query to be returned. While when you are using or means either of the conditions you are specifying should be met for the query to be returned. Now, between can as well be used. So between is used to specify the range of your condition. Okay, so now let's query our books table again. Let's look at what we can bring out from it. Okay, so we have our books table now. Let's say we want to return books that are within that their price falls within, let's say, $29 and $39. So let's return all the books that are within that price range. So how do we do that? We're going to say select. We're going to select, or we want to see everything, right? From books. Okay, so now in our where statement, we are now going to say where price, right, between 29, right, and 39. So this is how we specify a range using our between and statement. Okay, so with this now, it will only return all the books that their price falls within this condition that we have specified. So let's have it executed. Now I want you to take note of the price. You can see we have 29. You can see that there is no price that is less than 29. Now this is the between is different from greater than, in the sense that the between is inclusive. It will start from the boundary value, that is the value you are specifying, and in this case our boundary value is 29, and it will also include your extreme value, and the extreme value we are setting there is 39. Unlike greater than, less than, when you are using greater than we start from the value immediately after the value you are specifying, and less than we also start from the value immediately after the value you are specifying. I hope you get that correct. Okay, so that is how we use between and. Let's assume we want to get total count of orders have been made between 2021 5/21 and 2022 1/1. So how do we do that? We're going to select count of all the orders, right? From the orders table, where order date between. So we need to treat our dates as a string. So we're going to between 2021 01 21 and 2022, don't forget 01 01, then we close it, right? So we run this. Okay, so we have total count, we have 44 orders that have been made within this time frame. So that's how we run that. So make sure you alias yours as number of count or total orders. So now the next thing we are going to look at is, let's say we want to know how many books each author written, like how many books do they have in their names. So how are we going to do that? So we are going to use our group by clause here. So we're going to get this from our books author. So from, is it books author? Yeah, books authors table. So let's look at the table so that we can know how we are going to query it. Okay, so these are books author. We have book ID against author ID, which means that the author ID is standing for the author that wrote this particular book. Now, let's say we want to know how many, the count of book for each author. How do we do that? We're going to select author ID, select author. Okay, let's pull it from our books author table, books authors table first. Then say select author ID. Okay, so then count, because we want to count the books, the book ID that is assigned, allocated to each author, and the total count will give us, the total count per author will give us the total number of books written by that particular author. So we are now going to group by author ID, group by author ID, right? So then let's run this. Let's alias our count of book as number of books, okay. So now let's group by the author ID, right? And let's also order it in descending so that we have the highest to lowest. Order by number of books. So we can order by this new column that we have just aliased there. So just going to say order by number of books, right, in descending order. Okay, so let's have it executed. So now you can see we have it. We have author ID 103 has 3 different books in his name, author one like that. So that is how we have it. Now this is not yet readable and understandable because we only have the author ID and the book ID. We didn't know who is who. We don't know the name of this particular author. So how do we link it up with the name of the author? So this is where our joining comes in. So that takes us to the next video where we'll be looking at how we can join several tables to get meaningful insights, to get readable reports, readable insights that we can now use to make informed decisions. So this will take us to the next video, guys. But before we go, these are practical exercises that you are expected to do on your own. I hope you find this helpful. Once again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and to share with your loved ones. I'm very sure you're going to enjoy the next video. So I can't even wait to see you. So I'll be waiting for you there. Bye for now.